can amend the Constitution along with its members to approve. So they said, we'll do a draft Constitution and submit it. They did a draft Constitution, that's what I refer to, which is the 2005 draft Constitution. Submitted it with the 501c3 application. When they sent back for additional information, at that time there was a new administration in place. We immediately set up a committee of the board and the executive. We answered those questions, did a budget, and sent it. The 501c3 was approved. So, if we want to be technical, and we are to abide by the bylaws, this 1986 Constitution that people keep referring to, which I also refer to, is not as important to us as the 2005 Constitution, which was submitted with our 501c3 and it was approved. Now, part of what we needed to do as an administration, and also as the administration was required to do in the transitional process, was to immediately set up a Constitutional Review Committee, because the membership of the organization has said, we want to also be, even though you have sent the document with the IRS, we want to be part of the process. So that's why a Constitutional Committee had to be set up. That's about the 2005 Constitution, draft Constitution. Now, a 501c3 organization does not operate as a political organization. We are non-profit. That's why I say non-profit, which means that we either function in the, as a public charity, the way we are classified, because that's the classification that we have been given as a public. It's a temporary public charity. We can receive donations. We can provide, give donations which are not limited to only our members. And other people like my dear friend Mr. Weir, who has also worked with 501c3 organizations, know a whole lot about what are our expectations. So some of the things that when we put together, asking for financial reports, asking for all of these things, because at the end of the year, if the board does not present these reports to the IRS and to the state of Minnesota as is required, we will be held accountable. If the president, like for example, when she went and arranged for an office without the board approval and got that office, we went through that up and down again. If this administration forfeits on paying the bill and it's taken to court, it is this board that will be taken to court. If the bills are not paid, it is our property that it will come after. It's not a political organization. So we have the full duty to make sure that the organization functions as it ought to function, that people are accountable for what they do, because all of the people that go and do things, if they don't do it right, if push comes to shove, the IRS will come after the board members. So we have to make sure that things are done properly. If we are told Madam Sando over and this is what needs to be done, we even go and do a workshop. Right after the workshop, we come back to the same thing. After the workshop, we come back to the same thing. When we took the action based on that, and when we took the action, it did not require to call this membership to a meeting and say that we need for you. The only time we need to call you in if this was a political organization and we have to impeach the president. And that's why you are basing it on. This is not a political organization. We don't need to call you in to impeach the president. We read all of your emails. We know that all of your comments. We are concerned, but at the same time, it is also our obligation. This is not a case, as my dear brother said. We didn't come to investigate a case. We came to you to inform you of our actions to also listen to you. We have also listened to the chair of the Ministerial Council. He has called us and said, we want to look into this thing. Let's come together and talk about it. I specifically told Father Wilson, we have called a meeting. Let's go and tell the community about why we made a decision. If we need to come back to the table and talk about it, then it will take another forum. And what we're gathering here is how the community feel about it. We're not here to make a decision, to judge a case and make a decision. We are here to listen to what you have to say, your recommendations, and then move on to the next step. That's why I won't think it will be okay to say, call on somebody else to conduct a meeting. We want to hear what you have to say. We want to hear your recommendations. If the suggestion is made and it meets the consensus of everybody, that will come around the table with the administration, with the with the clergy, with concerned citizens in Minnesota, as they call themselves, that we can come to some understanding on how to get our community moving. Thank you very much, Mr. Zaza.
Well, there is a parable in my language that if you are beaten by something in the grass, if you see it up in the sky, you run. This institution, this community has been in crisis. So my appeal to you, Madam Chairperson, shall come back. Let the clergy, the elders, let them come together to look at this issue thoroughly. I know there is a transitional period. You say when you are explaining that there is no need that you get permission from the community to remove the president. But this president was elected. Now that he was elected, I think it is necessary, even though we are operating now on the 501(c), which has different mandates. But I think it's necessary that we listen to our pieces of advice. The next thing I have to say, the Constitution you quoted, removing the president, you said draft. Now, if the Constitution is a draft that is not approved by the body, I don't think it can be used to remove the president. But I don't want to be technical. My appeal to you, Madam President, is let us then we have this issue resolved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Mr. King.
Probably I'm not that much educated, but I did what you said, there was a lot of contradictions.
Yeah.
You referred to the draft article. You said it was draft. It wasn't approved by this body. Again, you said you don't need approval from this body in order to suspend the president. On the same token, you brought us here to let us know, and you say whatsoever we say, you go back and think. What is the relationship of the membership of this organization to the board? If you acted wrongly, who will remove you?
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. If member of the board acted wrongly, the rest of the board and the complaint from the membership come to the board can remove that member of the board. Mr. Weir, I beg you, please.
I just wanted to correct what you said so that we cannot waste more time here because Madam President, Madam Board Chair, please,
Okay.
Remarks on this particular issue. One of the remarks that was recently made was and it has to do with the legality of the decision. And if my memory serves me right, you alluded to the fact that you got your power and your authority from the recently revised draft constitution that was submitted along with the recommendation for the power working. If that being the case, then we all will agree here that we have no legal basis for the action because that particular instrument has not been approved. It has not met the consensus of the entire community, and it is not binding. We cannot use it as an instrument to provoke such a very important and very, very sensitive decision in the community. My advice would be that the whole, since this issue does have constitutional basis, withdraw that decision. Whatever concern an issue that you have with the president, you set up the ministerial committee. That's why we have others in the community. That's why we have other important people. They can meet and address those concerns. But there's a lot of consternation that has developed in the community with respect to this thing. Our hope has been dashed once again. Yes. We want us, if we must take action in this community, must be based on the law. Because what is not right, what is not done legally, is not done at all. Yes. Therefore, my honest appeal to you and what have you is that this issue immediately be revoked, and this issue that you have with the president be sent to the ministerial council for it to be discussed along with the board, and they'll find a way forward. We don't want this community to continue to remain in disarray. We have had enough. Thank you, and that's it.
Before you sit down, I have one question to ask you. What role will the ministerial council be playing in this regard?
Well, the ministerial council, since you do not have an instrument to support your action, the ministerial council, and you must have some legitimate concern with the president. We are not doubting that. You might have some legitimate concern based on the report you submitted and what have you, but the way forward, since you do not have an instrument and what not to support your decision, the best way forward now for this community to move forward, you get the ministerial council, sit down with them, tell them the grievances that the board have with the executive, and you're casting out. Lord, it's good to die, Lord. Somebody has action.
Mr. Carter, my question was, what role?
This is a dialogue.
I just said that the board will be able to resolve. The ministerial council will be able to resolve. But now whatever issue you have, first and resolve it amicably.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. Before I call other people, I have said that I will say things and I stand to be corrected. I think when I spoke here, I said there are people here who have also been involved in non-profit organizations. When I made a statement, Mr. Weah said he wanted to make some corrections. I will give him the opportunity to see what corrections he has to make to that regard before I take another. Mr. Weah.
When you forgot, right?
Am I presented by the chair?
Yes, you are recognized.
Thank you very much.
I think I enjoy the protection of the Honorable Chair. Thank you, Madam Chair. I think with this document, you have eloquently articulated the views and position as member of the Board of Directors. And there are reasons for concern, and there are reasons for these concerns to be questioned. But like others have said, previous speakers before me, there is a simple issue that we have all closed our eyes on. And I think the basic concern is for this community to go forward. This community has been fragile for so long, and it's about time that we put things in retrospective. Yes, it is good for us to have a 501c3 status, and for the Board of Directors to work in conformity with the status of the organization. But what we are lost in sight of, the board did not come into being on its own. It was the people that elected this board. And on the people's behalf, if you act in their interest, the people need some feedback. And I think all of your vision and your intention is good. But as good as it might be, it might not necessarily be right. Okay? So we are hoping that as reasonable as you are, you will see cause for this decision to be reviewed. And while it is reviewed and the necessary steps are taken, we still will have not lost sight of the fact that you have concern that this community has to probe in. Now, having said that, this community is represented by community leaders, such as the county head. All right? And they are the vessels of this organization through which your program can be disseminated. And this is the ground by which you can stand firm as a leader. We therefore urge you, Madam President, Chair, that the decision be reversed and your concern be properly championed. Thank you.
We've been there before during the Whitman Harris George Bush season. And you know, the argument there proves to me that people don't know the function of the board with respect to what OLM is. Now, I will educate you. The board is directly placed in to monitor the operations of the executive committee. So the executive committee works in consultation with the board. I'm talking as interim chairperson for the board for 8 months when we have a conflict. So the point here is, you can't tell the chair lady of the board, you can't chair the meeting you call. That means you don't know the function of the board. Now the point here is, if she came up with a decision, or the board came up with a decision, that the executive president is not functional, the board has all right to suspend the president. But the point here is, you have to know whether we are moving ahead as a community or we are lagging behind. So you can't question the authority of the board of directors and why the people are in there.
Thank you. Try again. Yeah, you are on the floor.
Okay, what I want to do, I myself work for a non-profit organization.
Speak louder, please.
I myself work for a non-profit organization. Realistically, we have a membership non-profit and we have an ordinary run non-profit. OLM is a membership. Now, the 501c3 has nothing to do with how the organization operates.
Thank you.
Right. IRS do not dictate to what you do. That's why they ask for your bylaws and your article of incorporation. The information in your bylaws and your article of incorporation are the information used by IRS to determine your 501c3 or 501c4, 501c5 status. Now, if it is the OLM policy that the General Assembly or the membership of the OLM is the highest decision-making body, whether 501c3, no 501c3, if that is the operation of the OLM, the president, the chairman of the board, whatever way, or the board is answerable to the membership because they are the highest decision-making body. Now, in this situation, if our operation says the president or the board can, or the board is answerable to the membership, then of course, the chair or the board will, before any action, will have to come to the body that is the highest decision-making, structure